Welcome to my views and news. Viewers, a top Eritrean military delegation has concluded its visit of Ethiopia. Several viewers have been commenting saying, Sajid, you are not covering a landmark development, that a new era of Ethiopia, Eritrea cooperation is starting. You're deliberately ignoring this new development. I want to share my take of this visit. What was the agenda of this visit? What does it indicate, this visit? And can we say that Ethiopia and Eritrea are going to renew their military alliance or to form a new alliance? What are their objectives? Why was this visit conducted? Was anything achieved in the past 4 to 5 days when the delegation was in Ethiopia? Firstly, the delegation was a top level delegation, but military delegation. We must not forget it was a military delegation led by Amhara Kasa, who is head of Eritrean intelligence agency. And other officers accompanying Amhara Kasa are top officers from Eritrean military. Their ranks are from Major General, Brigadier General, Hadish Ephraim, Ramadan, and others. They're top generals leading top divisions of Eritrean army. And the delegation was warmly welcomed in Ethiopia. A delegation was taken to Gerd, to Ethiopian Air Force Base, to Ethiopian Cyber Security Agency's headquarters, to Ethiopian National Defense Force headquarters, to Oromia, to Addis Ababa Mayor's office, to the agricultural farms in Oromia. Did the delegation visit the Amhara region of Ethiopia? I could not confirm their visit of the Amhara region. But they visited Benishangal Gumuz, where there is Gerd. They visited Oromia. They were seen, delegation member, they were seen with Shimalis Abdisa, and they were seen with top defense officials like Abraham Bale, like Burhan Jura. And last night, Ethiopian National Defense Force, Ethiopian Defense Ministry hosted a dinner in the honor of this delegation. Delegation has reportedly concluded its visit now. Now, Ethiopian National Defense Force invited the delegation. So it was on the initiative of Ethiopian government that the delegation visited Ethiopia. Why? Let's speak from Ethiopian and Eritrean perspectives. Ethiopia has two main concerns. Ethiopia wants to ensure that Eritrea does not feel isolated as TPLF and PP are coming close. TPLF has been restored as a political party. TPLF could be, Tigray parties could be part of federal government as well in coming days. So while TPLF and Ethiopian federal government are coming close, if Eritrea is not taken into confidence, Eritrea might feel isolated. And what would happen if Eritrea felt isolated? Then we could see Eritrea backing disgruntled elements in Ethiopia, like it has been happening for decades. When EPRDF was in power in Ethiopia, Eritrea-Ethiopia relations were not very friendly, and Eritrea was backing armed factions which were operating in Ethiopia, but they were based in Eritrea. Oromo fighters were based there. Disgruntled opposition groups, armed groups were created in Eritrea. They were armed, trained there. Then Tigray, Tigray fighters were based there too. Tigrayans were based there too. So Eritrea kept on backing opposition armed factions by training them, by arming them. And Ethiopian government does not want déjà vu. It does not want Eritrea to start backing disgruntled elements in Ethiopia. And Ethiopian government is concerned about ties between Amhara political elite and Eritrean government. Obviously, if Eritrea felt isolated, if Eritrea felt that growing TPLF-RB alliance was going to be a threat to Eritrean national security, Eritrea would start backing ethnic Amharas, groups, militias from the Amhara region. So that is why this delegation was invited to Ethiopia. Eritrean government's official position, Yemane Gebremeskel said yesterday while the delegation was in Ethiopia that the visit would lead to consolidation of existing military cooperation between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Now, if you talk from Eritrean perspective, obviously Eritrea would like to be part of the implementation of peace deal. Eritrea wouldn't like to be completely left out. But the main concern for Eritrea, two main concerns for Eritrea are firstly, growing US-Ethiopia relations. Ethiopia is hoping to receive bailout package, economic package from IMF through the US. And it is hoping to get financial aid from EU as well. If US and EU manage to gain a strong foothold in Ethiopia, of course, it would be a matter of concern for Eritrea. And secondly, if TPLF and federal government come closer and they start forming regional strategies about regional security issues, etc., of course, it would be a matter of concern for Eritrea. So that is why the two sides have their own concerns. I personally think if PM Abiy is interested in taking Eritrea on board, PM Abiy will try to convince TPLF, Tigray government, and Eritrean government to sit at the table. If PM Abiy is sincere, if PM Abiy wants to break Amhara Eritrea alliance, ideally he would like Eritrea to be on Ethiopian government side. That can only happen if there is a reconciliation between Tigray and Eritrea. Because obviously in coming days, coming weeks and months, you could see TPLF leaders back in Addis Ababa at federal cabinet. It means they'll be part of decisions regarding Eritrea-Ethiopia relations. So one day, Tigray and Eritrea through Ethiopian government will have to sit at the table. This reconciliation suits Ethiopian PM Abiy because PM Abiy's government has realized that now the gravest danger for the government is internal. After a threat from Orthodox Church, after recent protests in Amhara region, government has realized that it will have to ensure that Eritrea-Amhara alliance is broken. That is why I personally think this visit was Perhaps that is why the Eritrean military delegation was not taken to Amhara region. Ethiopian federal government planned the schedule, the venues of the visits of this delegation in a way that the delegation could not visit Amhara region. Maybe PM Abiy's government wants Eritrea Oromia alliance, not Eritrea Amhara alliance already existing. So I have not seen any pictures, any videos, any report about the military delegation visiting any place in the Amhara region. Delegation visited places in Addis Ababa, in Benishangal Gumuz, in Oromia, but it did not visit any city or any place in Amhara region. So here intent of the Ethiopian government seems to be that Amhara and Amhara political elite and Eritrean military do not get close, or their alliance is broken. That is what Ethiopian government seems to be planning. And by the way, the two countries, Ethiopia and Eritrea, now need economic cooperation. What are they going to achieve from military cooperation? Their people, their countries need economic integration. They're already cooperating in military, defense, security fields. But what is needed is their cooperation in other fields, which they agreed in 2018 when PM Abiy and Afwerki agreed to reconciliation. They agreed on cooperation in economy, in investment, in defense and security as well. But nothing has happened so far. I can conclude by saying that the ball is in the court of Eritrean government now. Ethiopia wants to ensure that Ethiopia-Eritrea relations become stronger in the fields of security, defense, economy, investment. Afwerki is not trusting, I think, the government. Can this visit lead to building of trust between Eritrean government and PM Abiy's government? We'll have to wait. So far, this visit only cannot be said to be an indicator of start of a new era of Ethiopia-Eritrea relations. Now, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see the outcome or the developments linked to Amhara-Eritrea alliance. Is Eritrea ready to open up economic channels between the two countries for economic integration? Or is the cooperation going to remain limited to military cooperation, which has already been there, nothing new? Let's see. Afwerki is the main man. Viewers, delegation is back in Eritrea. Of course, it will brief the president. And then in coming days and weeks, the president will make the final decision about the future of Eritrea-Ethiopia relations. Thank you for watching.